Good evening and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. I have with me Ms. P.C. Modi, who is Chief of CBDT, Ms. P.K. Das, who is Chief of CBIC. Both gentlemen have put in the numbers, the nitty-gritties of the budget that gives the leeway, like the Finance Minister said, a roadmap to a 5 trillion economy and putting measures towards an 8% growth number. Mr. Modi, let me start with you. We've seen some amount of tax changes. What was the ethos behind those changes? And at the same time, I would like to also ask you that there's some measures on discouraging cash transactions as well.
Well, let me start with the cash transaction thing only. Basically, now that various provisions are there which restrict the payment of business payments in cash, it would be difficult to visualize any business which would require that kind of a cash withdrawal. So it was basically an anti-abuse measure which was introduced, and 1 crore is a good threshold to keep, which does not impact the common businessmen. It's only select few who get impacted by that. And ultimately, what are we doing? We are just collecting TDS on that. And that TDS is not to be seen as a revenue mobilization exercise. It is just establishing a transaction trail. And moreover, TDS is something to be consumed, which will get factored into his tax payments. He will have to pay less advance tax. So that is the basic background of having this provision.
One common criticism that's come out from some quarters, not from large quarters, is that it seems like very ambitious targets, both in terms of spending as well as revenue collections. Would you say that that's a fair assessment? And that's a question to both of you.
No, I would start replying to that. If you see the last year's figures of revenue collection, we fell short of the BE targets very marginally. And then the RE was a very ambitious target, showing almost about 23-24% growth, which was unrealistic. And you would appreciate that that particular realism has come into the fixation of targets this year. And this year, the direct taxes target is about 13,35,000 crores, which translates to about 17.5%. And if we see the history of tax collection in the past 3 years, I think that is quite a realistic target. And with the increased use of technology and better compliance, I think it should be a realizable target.
Last year we achieved the customs target. The central excise revenue got a little short because you see last year also we reduced the rate of excise by 1.5 rupee on petrol and diesel. So that has impacted us a little badly. So to that extent, perhaps there was a shortfall in excise. And last year the target in GST was comparatively little high. So keeping that scenario and keeping the fact that whatever we have realized, and based on that, a realistic target has been fixed this year. And we are confident that we'll reach both the customs excise and the GST revenue this year, which has been total. The CBIC target has been fixed at 11.19 lakh crore.
The Finance Minister in a speech did allude to a range of items on which customs duty increases were applied. Now they seem to be finished goods. Is that going to be the motto in the near and coming future, that government is going to discourage imports of finished goods?
Actually, the philosophy of CBIC so far has been to be an enabler of the industry and growth for the economy. So we follow a principle where the raw materials are charged at the minimum, and which are required for the industry at large are also kept at the lowest possible, so that there is no inversion, number one. Number two, the finished products are gradually increased at a higher level, and the ones which are already manufactured in India, or where the MSMEs are also manufacturing it, maybe we can give them support because they invest quite a lot. So a lot of money is sunk in those areas. So we have to ensure that the domestic industry is also, to that extent, given some kind of support. And another area that you have to see is the area where we have to also factor where the FTA imports are coming. So keeping all these things, balancing factors, we increase the taxes wherever it is possible, the space provides. and possibly in the finished goods or the non-productive goods, like this time you have seen in case of gold, because gold import for export is all duty free. Both BCD as well as IGST is free. But suppose somebody is importing gold for domestic consumption or for hoarding, so that is perhaps is not the intention of the government to do it. And when we are thinking of $5 trillion economy, and then we have to think of a progressive and dynamic economy with social welfare objective to fulfill, all that is required is that we go in a technology, high-end technology, go in an area where the common man is benefited rather than the kind of hoarding or
is there a danger of getting drawn into a trade war, a tariff war? I mean,
I don't think
because any increase in the times that we live in, I mean, comes with that risk.
So effort is not in that direction. Effort is see that we are not rather taken for granted that way. We waited for the entire transaction negotiation to take place. We are not given the general system of preference, and government had to take a call as a sovereign nation the way it is necessary. We waited almost for nearly 2 years for the entire thing.
Mr. Modi, this is something that I want to ask you. Traditionally, governments, when they're voted in power, kind of do this ritual of a thank you to the electorate by cutting income tax rates, the salaried persons. There was some expectations in some quarters that there might be a cut in or realignment of slabs per se. What was the logic behind not touching them at all?
There was no case for realignment of slabs at the given point of time because it had already been done in the interim budget, one. Two, I think the thanksgiving was more in terms of promoting ease of compliance. In as much as that now we have been moving towards a regime where we can have faceless assessment, I think that would be bringing more cheer to the taxpayer than any rationalization further in the tax slabs.
Okay, point taken.
Government wants to increase behavior of the taxpayers in a manner where we'll be nudging them to have a better compliance, better facilitation would be provided to the licit entities.
Yeah. And like you mentioned about excise tax collections, this year because there's an increase in the petroleum excise duties, you very confident of meeting the targets?
Yeah, that's what I said. We were confident of meeting the target. Target has been made realistic and whatever is achievable.
Yeah. And one more thing, there's some confusion in the market about the increase in petrol and diesel, because the finance minister's speech said 2 rupees, or translated 2 rupees, but in the finance bill it seems like they have mentioned it as 6 to 10 and 1 to 4 in the fine print. What is the real situation? Like,
sorry, I didn't
in
get
the
that.
finance bill, in the explanatory paragraph, it says the price is moving up from 1 rupee to 4 rupees for petrol and from 6 rupees to 10 rupees for diesel. So effectively a 4 rupee increase.
No, actually it's a 2 rupee increase.
Yeah.
2 rupee increase, 1 rupee each for the additional excise duty and the cess that is written envisaged for both.
So that's
diesel
1
and
rupee
petrol.
for that road building and
So
1 rupee
no,
for...
is it for maybe for petrol, diesel, but since it's 2 different items, so perhaps that maybe you can...
Okay, fine. But otherwise it's 2 rupees on each item.
2 rupees on each item.
On that note,
From the
thank you.
center side.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.